Hey friends, welcome back to my studio. I'm so glad you're here with me today. I'm going to paint some birch trees. It's springtime here where I am, but I haven't painted them in a while and I'm really in the mood. I'm going to keep it simple in a couple ways. First, I've got a 20 inch by 20 inch canvas from Michaels. It's 1.5 inches thick. I drew a line on it for a horizon line with a T-square. And then I got curious. It's 5 inches up from the bottom, so about a quarter of the way. Or a quarter of the way, not about. I'm going to keep it simple with colors. So I'm going to use cad yellow medium hue, burnt umber, Mars black, and titanium white. Now I could put out some quinacridone and mix a brown, but then I think I'd be tempted to put some quinacridone or some reds or some oranges in a painting. I pretty much want to do a gray painting with yellow. If I didn't have the burnt umber, I could mix some darker yellows with the Mars black, but then they tend to go green and I want my yellows to go more brown. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, and I just dropped my paint, I'm going to use this really big, inexpensive 3-inch flat brush. I got it at Blick Art Materials. And I have an old vase that some flowers came in, so it'll fit in there for the water, to try to make quick work of painting the background. Okay, guys, let's get started. Hey, I thought I'd pop in. So there's the structure of my painting. There's a simple landscape. Should I call it done? I could. You really could. Or I could put like structure gel on it if I wanted more texture. I put some yellow on my palette just to warm it up a little bit, kind of indicate where I think I might want the color. I'll put some like yellow leaves or something. What else? Oh, I have a tunnel going. So 1 point perspective pretty much down into here somewhere. Kind of depends on what I do with the trees. So this goes this way. I don't have long enough arms. This goes like this way. Does that make sense? And then these kind of come down into here. So it's like there's a tunnel. That's about all I wanted to say. The ground is horizontal strokes, gets lighter as it goes back. You don't always have to do that. It just creates more distance. And then I'm just sort of indicating, I don't know, mountains or trees or whatever. It could be absolutely anything right now. I think next steps, I'm gonna put in some darker, shorter tree line. Maybe, that kind of thing. Okay guys, I'll be back in a bit. Okay, let's chat for a minute. I am painting very slow, and I don't think it's been that much time in the time lapse. And I'm just painting with thin paint, occasionally grayish, kind of yellow, whitish. And so I think I started with this one because I'm like, how close do I want to get to my far off in the distance? So I started with that one. And I thought, okay, so my far off in the distance is kind of on a third. Halfway is about right here. So then I just brought this big one over to the right more than half. And I originally was thinking these three would be a grouping, but I got them kind of far apart. So I made these three a little bit more of a grouping. You could say these four. And then I'm staggering where the trunks line up. I might change them as I paint. These two go off. What else? Oh, and then I'm also thinking smaller to bigger. I mean, not literally with my triangle on the ground, but it's close. It still leads you in that tunnel. Now I could lead you straight off into another, not a tunnel, but into another direction, which I do. And then I kind of bring you back in with that one. I'm going to put more trees in that aren't as, these are my main players. Most of them are my main players. We'll see what happens when I paint. This one definitely, the ones right here definitely are because they're the closest to you. Oh, hopefully that shows. Okay, yeah, that shows when I talk. Okay, guys, just basically figuring out more structure of my painting and where the players are on the stage. Hopefully some of those comments help. I'm debating if this is too strong, but I think I'll be able to pull you back in with like the dark spots on the birch trees. Put in some little dark branches. That'll help. Let me look at my phone. I'm liking it. It has, oh, here. This is what occurred to me before I turned on the camera, or turned on, the camera. So sometimes I get a comment, people want to paint out their imaginations, but it still is helpful to direct the viewer's eye and to have some structure. So my first structure decision was 5 inches up on a 20-inch canvas. Okay. And then I decided I'm going to lead you back on this third, basically. So it goes from darker to lighter. It did more subtly, and then I came back in with a stronger, darker gray. And then I also, so I'm also leading you here with a little bit of a path. It's not super distinct, but I think you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. And I also staggered the path just to make it interesting, just like I staggered these lighter and darker colors. And now I'm thinking staggering trees, as I just mentioned before. And so even though I'm painting out of my imagination, I'm thinking leading you in, keeping the viewer in, I have like 2 and then a space and then 2 or 3 and a little bit bigger. This space is bigger than that space. This space is bigger than that space. This one leans to the right. This one leans to the left. So kind of breaking it up while still leading you around the painting. This space is bigger than I have 2, but they don't line up in the same horizontal. And it might be overthinking, and I'm going to correct as I paint, but hopefully that helps for those who want to paint from your imagination. Okay, guys, I'll be back in a bit. I thought I'd pop in and chat about what I'm doing. So I've been using this 3/4 inch flat brush. It's from US Art Supply. It came in a pack. They were really inexpensive, but I like it because there's not a whole lot of bristles. So it's thin. So I can just do a really skinny line if I want. And I'm also using a 1/2 inch flat brush. I'm not sure from where. I don't know if you can see that. It's warped, it's bent. But just because sometimes I didn't want this quite a big of a brush. Boy, I don't think it really mattered. Could have used that one. And then I've got a round, what number is it? Number 4 Select from Princeton that I'm using. I was trying to use the flat brushes for the branches, and I end up liking the round ones sometimes. Okay. And so I put in my main tree players, and then I put in a bunch of vertical gray ones in the background, and then I put in some horizontal sort of rectangle shapes and a couple of spots too, just adding more detail, adding more interest, playing with it a little bit. And then after I did some of that, I thought, well, I better work on the main players and see how those are going, because I think I'm going to pull out more trees. Once I get the main players sort of painted, I'm going to probably put in a few more. And then last, I think I'm going to put in I'll put in a few yellow leaves, kind of maybe up here, because I lead you back here, and then I'm kind of pulling you to this main tree in front. I'm thinking it'll have the most black in detail. We'll see what I do with this one. But I think that gets us up to speed. I'm going to cover a lot of this with, I think, yellow leaves. Like most of the leaves have fallen. That kind of an idea. We'll see what happens though. Okay guys, hopefully some of those comments help. I'll be back in a bit. Hey friends, I thought I'd pop in. I can hear it in my voice. I haven't spoke much this afternoon. It's evening now. So let's see where to start. Oh, I've got another painting that's 2 color. This one's yellow and brown, cad yellow and burnt umber, and then black and white. So 2 colors and then plus black and white. I've got another one which is birch trees. I did it blue and yellow. And I think it's a simpler but similar layout to where I don't have quite as much of a tunnel, but I'll link it in this video's description. But I don't know if you can see it, but I've got like a little mini tunnel. Can you see it right there? Going right in there. There's 4 trees. Here, maybe I'll pick it up, get it closer. Right here. I didn't do it on purpose. I just happened to see it. I'm a little nervous because usually I make my tunnels go this way. And this one's, because we read left to right, but I think it's fine. That didn't sound very convincing, did it? What else? Oh, I'm thinking not too many leaves up here. And I'm just scrubbing paint up and down with this old 1/2 inch flat brush. Oh, I don't know if you can see it very well. Just scrubbing in and then putting in some layers. And if it looks a little thin, I might push a little more paint into it. I'm thinking darker here, and I sort of lead you in with the brown, a little bit of brown. I'm thinking I'm gonna have more yellows, or maybe here in the center of the painting, and then more muted colors on the edges. I said darker corner, lighter corner. Both of my corners up here are slightly darker. It's lighter right in here. I kept kind of adding trees. I might have overdone it. I've got an awful lot, just like the vertical lines. And then I know I talked about putting some shapes in. Okay, I think we're up to speed. So, and my palette, I'm fighting with my palette because I don't want to mix new colors, but I could. It's just black and white, yellow and brown. Like the smaller petals are getting sticky and they're just wanting to dry out. I don't know how many days later this is. This is a couple days later. Okay, guys, hopefully a couple of those comments help. This is a very simple, you'll see paintings like with low horizon lines or like higher horizon lines. That's really common and it's fun. You know, focal point on a third. I could you could darken all this up and then have like your strongest white down here to really lead you in. Not unusual to have a tunnel. This was making me nervous, but I think I've got enough going this way that we're fine. And then I remembered that other painting and it kind of does a similar thing. Okay, guys, I'll be back in a bit. Hey friends, what do you think? I spent 2 hours with just the dabbing on brush strokes for leaves. I think I'm looking at it in my phone. Yeah, I like that there's not very many up here. A lot of times I fill it up because it's fun. And another, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I was really trying not to put too many black spots on the birch trees because again, they're fun and I like how strong they are. So I was trying to not put very many of those in. And then I started putting some vertical marks, which I liked. Well, I had some vertical marks in the underneath. And then I just put some swipes in too. But it took me at least 2 hours or more to do that. Because I'm doing it like one big one here I smeared and then come back and put a brown one and a white one, another brown one. But very deliberate and very slow. Same with down here. You know, I put some here, put some over here, came back, and just kept building it up. Here, let's see if we can do a tour. This is a 20 by 20, so I'm not sure. Oh, I think I can at least get a little closer. I don't know if I can get it straight. Yeah, when I'm looking at my phone, the spots lead you in, almost maybe too well. I might need to break that up a little bit. But it might be okay. Let's take a look while I pointed that out. I think it might be okay when we step back from it. Here, we'll get close on one corner. I'll kind of aim best I can. A lot of fun marks, which is what makes it loose, but not at no speed. This painting has taken me quite a while to paint, even though it's pretty simple. But it does have a lot of up and down strokes back in the background. Trying to break up the horizon line a little bit here and there. Here's my thumb. There's a close-up of just the handful of leaves. I didn't like the branches, but when you put some leaves over them, I think they're fine. And a lot of times I don't like my paintings when I've been on top of them. I don't think I can get too much further. Oh, I can. I can lean back and sorry about all the wiggling. I'm laughing because I'm leaning so far back in my chair. Should have like a side cam and do like a little B-roll of me doing stretches and stuff to show you an up-close tour. Oh, here, this just popped into my head. So one thing I did pretty well with this one is I could have leaves going off the edge, but the detail comes in from the edge. So the leaves come in, and then can you see how there's less detail over here? And then it kind of picks up pace. I'm wondering if I need to fix that now that I see it. And then marks, not only kind of square marks, but then up and down brush strokes. And then I don't have any in the corners. That can help keep in the painting too. The detail, I have more detail here in the background, a little bit there, some there, but really not nearly as much there. Hopefully that makes sense. That's just another way to help keep you in the keep the viewer in the painting. Okay guys, let me know if you give this one a try. I think birch trees are fun. You don't have to paint every leaf. I really like their trunks. I just think that's great. What else? Oh, really like that it's a two-color painting. It really gives you instant harmony. It's gray and yellow and brown. Okay guys, thank you for hanging out with me. It's just a blast. I love it. I love the comments. I love all your support. It means the world to me. Great, let's do it again. Great big happy art hugs, and I hope to chat with you soon. Bye guys.